You are a Targaryen prince, but you are mercifully far from the Iron Throne. Born into a lesser, distant branch of the royal tree, you don't have to worry about ruling the Seven Kingdoms. You are a dragon without a crown, which gives you the one thing the main royal family never gets: freedom. And you spend all of it with your sister. The Targaryen affectation hits early for the two of you. From the time you can walk, there is a burning, possessive obsession that isolates you from the rest of the Red Keep. You look at her, with the same silver gold hair and bruised plum eyes as your own, and see the only creature in Westeros who actually understands the heat in your blood. You don't just share secrets in High Valyrian, you share a volatile, inseparable soul. By the time you are teenagers, it is less a sibling bond and more a mutual agreement that the rest of the world is simply unfit to breathe your air. The Citadel Meisters might write frantic, sweating scrolls about the abomination of incest, but to you, it's just traditional Valyrian family planning. Because your branch is irrelevant to the line of succession, the king doesn't care who you marry. There are no political alliances to secure, no Dornish princes or wealthy Lannisters to appease. You claim your sister as your wife, sealing a dark, isolated romance built on pure Valyrian supremacy. You have your blood, you have your bride, and you have your peace. But peace in Westeros is a fragile, fleeting illusion. While the main branch of the family drowns in court politics, you throw yourself into the brutal reality of the training yard. War is coming. You can smell it in the incense-choked halls of the Red Keep, and you refuse to let your isolated world be torn apart by the weakness of others. You treat combat with a ruthless, almost religious discipline. You're out in the mud 6 days a week, running a relentless, grueling split to forge your body into a weapon. You master the tactical mechanics of survival, pushing back heavy shield walls, pulling the immense draw weight of a weirwood bow, and driving explosive power from your legs to shatter a vanguard's guard. You build the sheer, dense muscle required to wield a bastard sword, not just with elegance, but with devastating, bone-breaking force. You need to be lethal, because the king is making a mess of the realm. King Aegon the Unworthy is treating the Seven Kingdoms like his own personal tavern. His reign is a disaster of gluttony and lust, and his final act on his deathbed is his absolute masterpiece of chaos. With his dying breath, Aegon legitimizes all of his bastards. Suddenly, the royal family tree isn't a tree. It's a pile of kindling, and someone just handed the realm a torch. The court violently fractures. On one side is the true-born king, a bookish, scholarly man who doesn't exactly inspire the warrior lords of the realm. On the other side is Daemon Waters, now Daemon Blackfyre, the king who bore the sword. Aegon had given him Blackfyre, the ancestral Valyrian steel blade of the conqueror. Daemon is tall, muscular, and looks like the warrior himself stepped down from the heavens. Half the realm flocks to his banner, raising the black dragon against the red. You don't care who sits on the jagged metal chair. You only care about protecting your wife and the quiet life you've built in the shadows of the Red Keep. But neutrality is a luxury you can no longer afford. The royalist forces need every pure-blooded Targaryen to hold the line. You kiss your wife goodbye, promising her you will return and ride out into the mud. It all culminates in a bloodbath that history will remember as the Redgrass Field. The tactical situation is a nightmare. The Blackfyre forces hit the royalist vanguard like a warhammer. You're in the thick of it, relying on the grueling strength you built in the yard. Your sword is heavy with gore, your lungs burning as the shield wall threatens to buckle. Across the chaotic sea of dying men, you see Daemon Blackfyre fighting like a legend, cutting down the Kingsguard with terrifying ease. For an hour, it looks like the realm is lost, but then the tide turns from the high ground. Brynden Rivers, Bloodraven, the albino sorcerer bastard, and a full-time nightmare. From the Weeping Ridge, Bloodraven and his personal company of archers loose a blinding, suffocating hail of arrows. You watch, frozen in the slaughter, as the brutal reality of war overrides any romantic notions of honor. The arrows find their mark. Daemon Blackfyre falls, and when his twin sons, Aegon and Aemon rush forward to shield their dying father. Bloodraven's arrows mercilessly cut them down too. The rebellion breaks. The black dragon dies in the dirt, unceremoniously pinned like a hunting trophy. You survive the Redgrass Field, but the victory tastes like ash. You return to the Red Keep a hardened veteran, covered in the blood of your own extended family. You walk past the cheering crowds and the banners, straight back into the arms of your sister. Your isolated world remains intact, but as you hold her, looking out over a city that just sacrificed tens of thousands of men over a family squabble, you realize the bitter truth of your bloodline. The dragons are dead. The magic is waning. Even with the Blackfyre threat buried in the mud, you know this dynasty will eventually eat itself alive. You are a Targaryen prince, standing in the shadows, fighting for the ashes of a fated empire.